Cleveland's QB revolution. This is bigger than you. Think something is stirring in Cleveland, and it's not just another round of who's starting at quarterback drama that'll fade away before the preseason wraps up. What's happening inside the Browns facility right now is a full-blown franchise reset, and the people involved aren't tiptoeing around it. This is the real thing. The chaos, the public meltdowns, the locker room turbulence. All of it is actually the groundwork being poured for something Cleveland fans haven't tasted in a very long time. A quarterback they can actually build around. A direction they can actually believe in. So let's lay it all out, piece by piece. Because when you step back and look at the full picture, it's honestly one of the most compelling stories in pro football right now. Monkin said what he said. And he meant it. Let's start inside the building. Because where this news came from matters just as much as the news itself. Head coach Todd Monkin didn't call a press conference. He didn't fire off a tweet. He sat down with people close to the situation and said it plainly, without flinching. Shedeur Sanders is QB1, full stop. Not, we'll see how camp goes. Not, it depends on how Watson looks. Done deal. And Monkin wasn't just talking about the depth chart. He was talking about the entire DNA of this offseason. Every single rep, every film session, every scheme installation, every coaching conversation, all of it is being pointed in one direction. Getting Shedeur Sanders to the very best version of himself before this team plays a game that actually counts. That's not a roster update. That's a philosophy. For a franchise that's been swapping out quarterbacks like most people change phone cases, that kind of clarity from the head coach hits like a lightning bolt. Cleveland hasn't been this sure about a quarterback in years, maybe decades. Why that certainty spreads here? It's the thing about conviction at the top. It trickles down in ways that no press conference or public statement ever could. When an offensive lineman knows for certain who he's protecting, he blocks differently. When a wide receiver is running routes in the offseason and knows the guy throwing him the ball isn't in a fight for his spot, the chemistry builds faster. The whole environment changes. Once the organization locks in, everything else starts falling into place naturally. That environment has arrived in Cleveland. Not everyone welcomed it with open arms, but it arrived. Gabriel wants out. And honestly, you get it, Gabriel's reaction was fast and loud. The moment he found out Shedeur was locked in and the whole program was being built around him, Gabriel made it clear. He wants to go somewhere that'll actually give him a shot. And look, fairness is fairness. Gabriel came out of college with real credentials. Smart quarterback, accurate, a winner at the collegiate level. He was drafted with genuine expectations, and now he's sitting there being told, before a single padded rep, before training camp has produced a shred of evidence either way, that the decision has already been made. For any serious competitor, that stings. It makes sense that he's frustrated, but here's where it gets tricky. Going public with a trade demand? That backfires almost every time. The moment teams know a player is desperate to leave, they smell blood. They wait. They lowball. Cleveland needs to get something genuinely useful back for a roster being constructed around a franchise quarterback who needs weapons and protection. Gabriel's public stance makes finding that fair deal a whole lot harder. And then there's Watson. Deshaun Watson's response, on the other hand, is a whole different story, and not a flattering one. Rather than taking a moment to process the news privately, rather than responding with even a sliver of the humility his situation calls for, Watson went public. He questioned Shedeur's readiness, called the decision questionable, and reminded everyone that he, a star, was still on the roster. Let's skip the emotional reaction and just look at the cold, analytical reality, because the facts here are actually more damaging than any emotional take could be. Watson hasn't played meaningful football in years. He's carrying one of the most alarming injury histories of any quarterback in recent memory. 2 Achilles tears, plus a shoulder situation that insiders have apparently been describing in terms that go well beyond normal recovery concerns. Cleveland has tried to move him. Nobody's called back. His trade value on the open market is essentially zero. So instead of handling this pivotal and difficult career moment with the kind of quiet professionalism that might at least preserve some goodwill, Watson chose to publicly undercut the coaching staff that still has him on payroll. That is a baffling strategic decision. Any team that might have had even a passing interest in taking on that contract now has to factor in a player who publicly declared himself a star while questioning a rookie his own coaches just named the starter. Injury baggage, a massive contract, and a locker room attitude problem walking into a new situation? Nobody in any NFL front office is lining up for that combination. Watson seems to genuinely believe this job is still his birthright, that his Pro Bowl history and his time in Houston entitles him to be judged by a different standard than a young guy who's earning everything through daily grind and competitive fire. That kind of thinking? It's worthless currency in Todd Monkin's program. It's the exact opposite of the culture being built around Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders hasn't flinched once. Now let's talk about the man at the center of all of this. Through everything, Gabriel's trade demand, Watson's public shots, ownership pressure, media noise, the entire weight of a franchise's expectations dropped on his shoulders before training camp even opens. Shedeur Sanders has been completely unbothered. This young man is wired differently, and people are still sleeping on how significant that actually is. He grew up in the most scrutinized environment in college football. Every practice documented, every game broken down frame by frame, every decision questioned by people who had already decided what story they wanted to tell about him before he even touched the ball. He spent years being told his last name was the only reason he was there, and every single time, without drama, without firing back publicly, without cracking, he just played. He let the work do the talking. That kind of mental makeup doesn't crumble under external pressure. It's been stress-tested in conditions most NFL quarterbacks never get anywhere near, and it's held up every time. Now it's being tested again in the biggest arena yet, called out by his own teammate in public, playing under an owner openly looking to shake things up, dealing with a media still debating whether he belongs. And what is Shedeur doing? Getting first-team reps, building chemistry with his receivers, studying film with a coaching staff that has literally installed helmet camera technology specifically to fine-tune how he reads defenses, working under a head coach who has put his own professional reputation on the belief that this is the right guy. You don't build your entire off-season program around a quarterback you're not sure about. Monkin has seen everything, every rep, every film session, every moment in the meeting room, and arrived at his conclusion without a single asterisk. That's the best thing that could have happened to Shedeur Sanders as a Brown, a coach who believes in him completely, no conditions attached. The draft pieces are all pointing the same direction. Now connect all of that to the draft, because this is where the organizational commitment becomes impossible to argue with. Cleveland holds picks 6 and 24. And the thinking behind how those picks get used flows directly from one decision. Shedeur Sanders is the franchise quarterback, and the entire roster is being constructed to maximize what he can become. Pick 6 isn't just about filling a need at offensive tackle. It's about making sure Shedeur stays upright on every single drop back in September, October, and November. Last year, Cleveland ranked dead last in QBR when their quarterbacks were under pressure, and that happened on nearly 40% of all dropbacks. You can't evaluate a quarterback in those conditions, let alone develop one. Pick 24, potentially a receiver like Carnell Tate, isn't a consolation prize. It's a weapon placed directly into Shedeur's hands, a player who'll be in the system from day one, building timing and chemistry through shared reps in ways that can't be faked or rushed. Throw in a veteran pass rusher alongside Myles Garrett, giving defensive coordinators nightmares on one side while Shedeur's receiving group, with Jerry Jeudy and Darnell Washington already in the mix, makes it impossible to simplify coverage on the other. Now you're not just naming a starter. You're building a whole team around a quarterback on purpose, with intention, with a plan, the full picture. Here it is all at once. Shedeur Sanders spent the entire winter inside the building while others were elsewhere. He came out on the minicamp field and hit 80% of his passes on day one. His head coach strapped helmet cameras to him to study his read progressions and publicly called him an elite playmaker. Veterans like Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward have vouched for him openly. And the front office has 2 first-round picks being deployed to build the infrastructure around him. Cleveland is not hoping this works. Cleveland is building for this to work. That's a different thing altogether. And it might just be the beginning of something this city has been waiting a very long time to see.